Translation and commentary by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhakti Swami Prabhupada, Founder Acharya of ISKCON, Chapter 7, Text 1. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Saktamana Partha Yogam Yunjanana Shrayaha Asamshayam Samagram Mam Yatha Yasyasi Tach Shrinu. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Now hear, O son of Pritha, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt." Purport. In this 7th chapter of Bhagavad-gita, the nature of Krishna consciousness is fully described. Krishna is full in all opulences, and how he manifests such opulences is described herein. Also, 4 kinds of fortunate people who become attached to Krishna, and 4 kinds of unfortunate people who never take to Krishna are described in this chapter. In the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad-gita, the living entity has been described as non-material spirit soul capable of elevating himself to self-realization by different types of yogas. At the end of the 6th chapter, it has been clearly stated that the steady concentration of the mind upon Krishna, or in other words, Krishna consciousness, is the highest form of all yoga. By concentrating one's mind upon Krishna, one is able to know the absolute truth completely, but not otherwise. Impersonal Brahma Jyoti or localized Paramatma realization is not perfect knowledge of the absolute truth because it is partial. Full and scientific knowledge is Krishna, and everything is revealed to the person in Krishna consciousness. In complete Krishna consciousness, one knows that Krishna is ultimate knowledge beyond any doubts. Different types of yoga are only stepping stones on the path of Krishna consciousness. One who takes directly to Krishna consciousness automatically knows about Brahma Jyoti and Paramatma in full. By practice of Krishna consciousness yoga, one can know everything in full, namely the absolute truth, the living entities, the material nature, and their manifestations with paraphernalia. One should therefore begin yoga practices as directed in the last verse of the 6th chapter. Concentration of the mind upon Krishna the Supreme is made possible by prescribed devotional service in 9 different forms, of which Shravanam is the first and most important. The Lord therefore says to Arjuna, "Tach Shrinu," or hear from me. No one can be a greater authority than Krishna, and therefore by hearing from him, one receives the greatest opportunity to become a perfectly Krishna-conscious person. One has therefore to learn from Krishna directly, or from a pure devotee of Krishna, and not from a non-devotee upstart, puffed up with academic education. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, this process of understanding Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth, is described in the 2nd chapter of the 1st canto as follows. Shunvatam Swakata Krsna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Hridyantasto Yabhadrani Vidhunoti Suritsatam Nashta Prayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavad-gita Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki Tatara Justamo Bhava Kamala Bhodayaschaye Cheta Ekayana Vidham Stitam Sattve Prasidati Evam Prasana Manaso Bhagavad Bhakti Yogataha Bhagavad Tattva Vijnanam Mukta Sangasya Jayate Vidyate Rilyagrantish Chidyante Sarva Sangshayaha Kshiyante Chatsya Karmani Drishta Evatmanishvare. To hear about Krishna from Vedic literatures or to hear from him directly through the Bhagavad-gita is itself righteous activity. And for one who hears about Krishna, Lord Krishna, who is dwelling in everyone's heart, acts as a best-wishing friend and purifies the devotee who constantly engages in hearing of him. In this way, a devotee naturally develops his dormant transcendental knowledge. As he hears more about Krishna from the Bhagavatam and from the devotees, he becomes fixed in the devotional service of the Lord. By development of devotional service, one becomes free from the modes of passion and ignorance, and thus material lusts and avarice are diminished. When these impurities are wiped away, the candidate remains steady in his position of pure goodness, becomes enlivened by devotional service, and understands the science of God perfectly. Thus, Bhakti Yoga severs the hard knot of material affection and enables one to come at once to the stage of asamshayam samagram, understanding of the Supreme Truth Personality of Godhead. Therefore, only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotee in Krishna consciousness can one understand the science of Krishna. Shri Bhagavan Vacha asamshayam samagram Maya Sakta Manapata Yogam Yunjamarashana Asamshayam Samagram Mam Yatad Yasasi Tachchinu. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, now hear, O son of Pritha, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. Om Jnanatimidam Dhasya Jnanam Gacchana Shalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is asking his great devotee and friend Arjuna to hear from him, to hear from Krishna. Of course, Lord Sri Krishna spoke Bhagavad-gita not only for Arjuna's benefit. Practically we can say that in one sense Arjuna didn't need to hear Bhagavad-gita because he was already at the perfectional stage which Krishna ultimately recommends in Bhagavad-gita, which is to be a pure devotee of Krishna. He already is pure devotee. But circumstantially Arjuna was having doubts about what is his duty. That was only by the action of Krishna's yogamaya potency, or bewildering potency, that Arjuna was temporarily bewildered, so that Krishna would explain the Bhagavad-gita to him for the benefit of us, who are not temporarily bewildered but are always bewildered. That Arjuna is a great pure devotee who understands Bhagavad-gita is obvious from the fact that he understood it immediately. And Krishna spoke Bhagavad-gita to him, he immediately understood, which was tested by his fighting. Fighting means, in this case, he was following the order of Krishna. He came to the point of accepting Krishna's instruction and following Krishna's instruction. Whereas others, there are so many scholars, they don't understand Bhagavad-gita, even after hearing it so many times. Even they think they understand it, and they write so many books and confuse others. Krishna says here, therefore, hear from me. And Prabhupada has written this book, Bhagavad-gita as it is, to distinguish this from other editions of Bhagavad-gita, which is actually not Bhagavad-gita at all. It's just like, nowadays maybe not so much, but if you buy loose ghee in the market, is it ghee? Kind of. But you know, if it's loose, it's mixed. It's mixed with some things which might give you gastroenteritis or something, at least diarrhea, quite likely. So it's mixed, it's not reliable. So in the same way, many commentators have given their loose commentaries. They've mixed it with something cheap, not the real thing. They don't themselves understand Bhagavad-gita, therefore how can they present it? Therefore Krishna emphasizes, hear from me, and Prabhupada has given Bhagavad-gita as it is, which gives us the opportunity to hear Bhagavad-gita as Krishna presented it. Krishna presented Bhagavad-gita for a specific purpose. It wasn't that, well, you know, the fighting is going to start in about 3/4 of an hour, so what do we do? Okay, let's speak Bhagavad-gita. Fill up, time pass. No monthly, just speak Bhagavad-gita. Something to do. No, it's a very specific purpose. Krishna spoke Bhagavad-gita to take us out of ignorance. And what is that ignorance? That ignorance is our ignorance of forgetting Krishna. Therefore Krishna at the end of Bhagavad-gita, after discussing so many things, says, Shunu me paramam vacha. Now hear what is my topmost instruction. Mandana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskaru. Always to think of Krishna, become his devotee, bow down before him and worship him. For those who are envious of Krishna, they don't like this. Why are we in this material world at all? That Krishna explains, because we don't like to think of him. We're envious of Krishna. Ichchadvesha samutena dvandvamohena bharata saga bhutani sammoham sagayanti parantapa. We're in this material world because we have material desires to fulfill. Material desire means a desire to enjoy our senses. Material desire means a desire separate from the pure desire to serve Krishna. So when we have a desire separate from Krishna, that means we're envious of Krishna, because our actual position as spiritual beings is to serve Krishna. But when we become envious of Krishna, we don't want to serve Krishna. That's why we're here in this material world. So when different commentators, they may feel attracted to Bhagavad-gita, because after all, Krishna is attractive. So they may feel attracted to Bhagavad-gita, the words of Krishna, but at the same time, because they're envious of Krishna, they don't want to accept his direction, to surrender to him. Therefore, they malinterpret Bhagavad-gita and give their own ideas. So you end up with Bhagavad-gita as it is not, something different, in the name of Bhagavad-gita, just like if you buy loose ghee. Cheap, it's very cheap. You see, real ghee costs how much? Who knows? Who's buying ghee? No one buys ghee. No one can afford it. 200 rupees? Huh? 160. That's the real ghee or loose ghee? You don't know. No one can say. Here you can. If you want to get cow's ghee in Vizag, is it possible? No, only buffaloes. So if you want to get Shuddh Vaiska ghee, you can pay 160 rupees for pure buffalo ghee. And loose, maybe 120. And after that you get loose motions. So the same thing, if you take Bhagavad-gita as it is not, then it's not really hearing from Krishna, because someone is interpreting. Krishna is saying, hear from me, surrender to me, think of me. And the commentator is saying, well, wait a minute, you have to understand what he really means. He didn't really mean that. You don't really have to think of Krishna. You know, there's something unborn, eternal, undying within Krishna. Think of that. And actually, that's me, the commentator. You should think of me. When Krishna says think of me, actually he means I'm the incarnation of Krishna, and so many different things I have. You are God. You will become God. I will give you a blessing. I will give you a mantra. Only 500 rupees. And you will become God. And then you can also tell others to think of me. Chain reaction. But here Krishna specifically says, Maya Saktamana Partha. With your mind, Maya Saktamana Partha, with your mind attached to me. Yogam Yunjam Madashraya. Practice yoga under my shelter. The first 6 chapters of Bhagavad-gita have been a general discussion of the fact that we are not material beings, we are eternal spiritual beings. Then practically for the first part of the Bhagavad-gita, Arjuna is just wondering what is work and what is karma, what is akarma, how do they all interact, and then how do you practice yoga. And finally at the end of the 6th chapter, Krishna has brought Arjuna to the point that actually you don't have to worry about all this karma yoga and dhyana yoga. Krishna brings Arjuna to the point. If you want to be a yogi, you're asking so much about this yoga, that yoga, another yoga. Krishna says, okay, I'll tell you what is the best kind of yoga. You want to know? So Krishna tells Arjuna, what is that yoga? Yoginam api sarvesham nadgate nantaratmana shadhavan bhajate yomam samayuktata vamata. Krishna tells Arjuna, there are so many different kinds of yogis. But the best kind of yoga is the yoga by which you worship me with full faith and understanding. That is the best yoga. So therefore, now in the 7th chapter, Krishna will bring Arjuna directly to the point. that human life is meant for serving Krishna, or not only human life, our very existence is meant to be united with Krishna in yoga, by the yoga of devotion, serving Krishna, Bhakti yoga. Therefore Krishna says, you practice this yoga, Maya Saktamana, with your mind attached to me. There's been so much discussion in the previous chapters of the mind, how to control the mind. Your mind can be your best friend or your worst enemy, and Arjuna says, I can't control my mind, it's more difficult to control than the wind. And Krishna agrees, yes, it's very difficult to control, but there is a method, you can do it. But then at the end of this 6th chapter, Krishna says that the best yogi is one whose mind is fixed on me. So immediately he begins the 7th chapter, so now fix your mind on me. You said you want to be a yogi, so now fix your mind on me and you'll be the best yogi. I'm going to tell you, but listen carefully and I'll tell you. But then you have to become free from doubts. You have to accept. Therefore, Tatshrinu, hear. There has to be some measure of faith. In every subject that we hear, in any subject that we learn, there has to be some measure of faith. Arjuna already had that. Otherwise, why had he approached Krishna in the very beginning? In the beginning of how this Bhagavad-gita came to be spoken, because Arjuna approached Krishna as Guru. He was the great Arjuna, heroic, warrior, come on the battlefield. Everyone was the other party, they were afraid of him. They knew he was going to be the main fighter for the Pandava forces. Bhima and Arjuna, but especially Arjuna. Both of them were deadly fighters. If these were the two obstacles, if these two could be removed, then the Kauravas would rule the world. So Arjuna was so much feared, and he went out between the two armies to inspect who are the two different groups, accompanied by his friend, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, who had taken the position of his chariot driver. So there he was, going very proudly, the great warrior, feared on one side and looked up to on the other, and he felt suddenly change of heart. How can I fight? How can I fight in this battle? He'd fought in so many battles, but suddenly he felt that some doubt. Therefore he approached Krishna, because on one side he knew he's supposed to fight, on the other hand, emotionally he didn't feel up to it. He couldn't take the thought of having to fight with his Brunnahatvahi Mahanubhavan, with great personalities, his gurus, especially Drona and Bhishma, not to speak of his cousin brothers arrayed on the other side. So therefore he approached Krishna as a guru. What should I do? I'm not sure. Should I fight or shouldn't I fight? I know I should fight, but I can't fight. And he was confused. Therefore he approached Krishna. He'd already agreed to hear from Krishna. Now, how was he hearing from Krishna? He was hearing, but at the same time he had so many doubts. That's why he approached Krishna in the first place. Otherwise there was no need to ask Krishna so many questions. Otherwise, what he originally came to inspect the armies, he could have just, okay, we saw the armies, okay, let's kill them all. But no, he had some hesitation. Therefore he was approaching Krishna. Suddenly, so many doubts came in his mind. Therefore he approached Krishna as Guru. You tell me what to do. So he had so many different doubts, and we see from the 2nd chapter to the 6th chapter of Gita, Krishna has been answering different doubts of Arjuna. Krishna is speaking, and Arjuna is questioning, well, why this, why that, why this, why that. Not that Arjuna, he's not exactly challenging Krishna, but he doesn't clearly understand what points Krishna is making. So Krishna now has brought Arjuna to the point of hearing. He's told him that you have to, if you really want to be a yogi, now you come to the purpose of life, that you have to perform yogi. Tasmat yogi bhavarjuna. In all circumstances, you should be a yogi. And what kind of yogi? If you want to be a yogi, why be a quarter yogi, half yogi, 3/4 yogi? Be a full yogi. So full yogi means bhakti yogi, because that is full yoga. There are different steps on the yoga ladder that you can gradually become more advanced. But the topmost yoga is to link with Krishna in devotional service, with full faith in Krishna, serving Krishna. So, Krishna is exhorting Arjuna, you be a yogi, bhakti yogi, now hear about this, how that should be done. Maya saktamana, with mind attached to me. So some faith is required. Now often when people hear this, they think, oh, faith, I'm not interested anymore. I don't want this faith. But actually everyone has faith in something. If you're to study any subject, you have to have some initial faith. Just like if you're going to the engineering college, before you go, you don't know anything about engineering, or you may have some vague ideas, but you have faith that there's something worthwhile learning there. Isn't it? Otherwise, why should you go? So in the same way, you have to have some initial faith to understand the science of God or any subject. If in the college, you say the first time they're showing you calculus, and you don't understand anything about it, to you it looks just like a bunch of nonsense, a bunch of Greek figures and some funny squirrely signs. And so you can just say, oh well, what's that? I don't understand it, therefore it's nonsense. That means you're a nonsense. You don't understand it, but you have to have some initial faith that there is someone who understands it and who can explain it to you so that you can use it in your life for your benefit. So similarly with spiritual knowledge, if we say, well, why should I listen? What's the use? Some initial faith is required so that we can hear and apply that knowledge in our lives for our actual benefit. So Krishna is explaining this, the process of Bhakti Yoga, which begins as understanding any subject begins with hearing. First you have practical, and then when you have studied the basics, then there is, first there is theory. When you've understood the basics, then you can go on to practical. Or sometimes you're showed, first of all, they're showing some experiment, and then you don't know what's going on, and then after that, the teacher will explain to you, this is what happened, and then again, you go back. Then again you go back and do it, and you can do it yourself and you understand what's going on, isn't it? Sometimes they do like that, they show you, you have no idea what's going on, just like I remember for instance, very simple thing. Once in the class, then a piece of magnesium strip was brought and put in water, and we'd never seen then it was all over. So, what's that? And then they showed on the blackboard. I don't remember exactly what it is. Magnesium plus oxygen and something like that. Means magnesium. I can't remember. I'm a fool. Anyway, at least in chemistry, I'm a fool. So anyway, they show this is what happens. This is the reaction, and then you understand. Yes, the magnesium it's being oxidized by interaction with water or something like that. What is it? MO2, 2MO2. Or they show, anyway, something like that. You burn some hydrogen and then you condense it, and 2H2 plus 2O2 makes 2H2 something. So first of all you show, then you see what's going on, and then afterwards you do it, and then you understand. So in the same way, we may also sometimes ask you to chant Hare Krishna. And you're chanting, yes, it's very nice, it's interesting, and this and then afterwards there's explanation that what is this name? It's not simply some entertainment. It's very nice, yes, but it's not simply entertainment. This name, the name of Krishna, this is a transcendental sound. It's not a material sound. Although we're making it with our mouths, which is the same voice box that we make so many nonsense sounds with. And although it's being transmitted through the air and we're hearing it with our ears, but still that sound is of a different nature because these syllables, when combined, Krishna, they form the sound which is the absolute truth. So when we hear that name that has an effect which is different to hearing any material sound. And that can be practically seen also. That those who are chanting Hare Krishna, they become disinterested in material sounds, and because they experience a taste, a transcendental taste, which is better than anything, any news of this material world. We're always hearing so much information. Here Krishna says, hear from me. Well, if we don't hear from Krishna, we're hearing from somebody. Especially in the modern age, everyone is saying, hear from me. There's so much advertising. Levi Jeans are saying, hear from me, buy my jeans. Coca-Cola, Nirma soap says, hear from me, don't hear from Surf. And Surf says, don't buy Nirma, buy Surf. So everyone is trying to get our attention. And there's so many different songs, people have got so many different messages, it's the information highway, traffic blockage, overload. Too many things. There's so many things. So many people trying to grab our attention. But Krishna says, hear from me. This will actually benefit you. You spend so many lifetimes hearing so many different things. When you're in the body of a dog, you are barking, and other dogs are barking. The dogs, they like to hear each other barking. At night one will bark, and then all the others will bark. And that's their pleasure. They think this is very nice. Who can bark the loudest? The birds also, they have their sounds in the morning. The bats, they're making some noise by which they can understand what's going on, where to fly. In every species of life, they're making some noise, and we're hearing it. And according to what we hear, we make our lives, especially in the human form of life. We have language, and language conveys information. And through information, we develop different ways of looking at the world. According to what we hear, or according to the culture we are brought up in, we have a different way of looking at the world. Just like the way your forefathers considered the world is different to the way that modern people do, isn't it? Previously, in this religion, and then someone came along and said, too religious. When you're too religious, it's turning the country. Let's get less of this religion. Industrialize our parents. We have enough religion, too much. The previously because they were brought up in this culture, they thought that, well, we've been born in this particular situation according to our karma, because they heard from Shastra, they understood. We've been born in such a particular situation due to our karma. After some time we shall have to die. We should act in such a way that we will not get born again. Those who hear from Shastra, they are wanting to get free from birth and death. But in the modern life, they train you that you should work hard, get money, then you will be happy. You have to become a success. Success means to have lots of money and a degree. If you don't have that, then you're a failure. The worst thing can be to be a failure. So because the hearing is different, the culture is different, the propaganda is different, therefore people think in a different way. Actually, everyone is influenced by different social pressures. No one wants to be a failure because they think, oh, everyone will chastise me, or everyone will scorn me if I'm a failure, if I don't get a good job. A good job means you have to work hard all your life to get some money, and you have to have some motorbike or a car or something like that. They call it a good job. What's good about it? Who knows? But it's supposed to be good. It's considered socially respectable. Therefore it's considered good. So this is considered the be-all and end-all of life. But actually it's not, because the end-all of life is that you have to die. And when you die, it doesn't matter how respectable your job is, or if they put a little note in the paper, Dr. So-and-so did so much good work for society, now he's dead, God bless him. So they may put that in the newspaper, but it's not actually the end all. Because when we leave this body, we go to another body. And what we do in this life, that affects our future. Because people don't know this, they perform many sinful activities. They have a respectable job as a respectable gynecologist in a respectable hospital, respectably aborting hundreds of babies. And then they go to hell for the sinful life, and not very respectable. Even they may say, well, they're being whipped in hell. Well, I was a doctor. I was respectable. It doesn't help you. In fact, that false pride will make you suffer more. So people don't, because they've heard that this is how we should live our lives. Therefore, they're acting in that way, but they don't know. They're so much attached to science, in which they're concerned with the laws, different scientific laws, but they don't consider that there are these subtle laws of nature also. That for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. That acts on the karmic level also. You can't just simply enjoy sense gratification, exploiting others, performing sinful activities without a reaction. Why is it that in this, not only in this country, but all over the world previously, it was considered sinful to take intoxication, even eating meat? You see, now they say, well, you become a Christian, you can eat meat, or anyway, you can be a Hindu and eat meat, it doesn't make it. It's all the same anyway, eating beef. We modern Hindus eat beef. That was just an old idea. Or if people complain too much, well, you become a Christian, you get government benefit also by being a Christian. But you'll see, even in the Christian faith, they have the idea, don't eat meat on Fridays. Why? Because there's some idea, something is wrong there. Some idea of restriction is there. Actually, the original Christians, they didn't eat meat at all. But then Jesus Christ, He also wasn't a meat eater. But they've missed it because they want to eat meat. They've explained that He's a meat eater and a drunkard, because they want to be meat eaters and drunkards. But Jesus Christ is a great guru, teacher of love of God. He's not a meat eater or a drunkard. But they've made Him like this, because they want to be. So actually any civilized society has some restriction on sense gratification, just like marriage. Why marriage? The animals, they don't have marriage. Humans have marriage. Why? Because that is to restrict. Everyone is interested in sex life, but there's some restriction. You should do it within marriage, not before. And after marriage, only with your married spouse. That is to control, to regulate. Otherwise it's sinful. But people in the modern age, they have no idea what is sin, what is not sin, and they think just whatever you like to do, you should do it. You should enjoy life, isn't it? Enjoy as much as possible. But whose idea is that? That the dog also thinks, is it not? The dog has no restriction, no marriage, nothing. So for all this so-called advancement, we have become like animals. That's the fact. And you can see that. There's no advanced culture in human society. Anyone can cheat anyone else. They can lie, they can steal. Politician means, any politician means he's got blood on his hands. Any position means so much blood. But they don't care, because they think, now I'm a politician, I spent 3 crores to get in this position, but within 6 months I'll get it back, and after that it's all profit. So, but it's not a joke. That's the unfunny thing. That's the fact. But they don't consider how sinful is this. And this is the society we're living in, because we're brought up in this. We're thinking this is all very normal, very nice, very natural. Krishna says, hear from me what is for your best interest. So many lifetimes we spoil by not hearing from Krishna. And in this modern age especially, which is a very sinful age, in which people are enthusiastically and with great determination performing many sinful activities, then if people don't hear from Krishna, then they're guaranteed to enter into a very dark future, because by sinful acts they will get a bad future. We see there are so many Christian new churches coming and they say, Jesus saves from sins. And why are they saying so much about sins? But they're doing sins. They themselves are eating meat and so many things. It saves from sins, but the best thing is to teach people not to sin. Then why are you killing the animals? And why are you drinking? Why are you having illicit sex? Because their aim of life is sense gratification. Even in religion, even in the name of religion, mostly people are approaching religion as another means towards enjoyment. That's all, material enjoyment. Either they go to the church or the temple and pray, "Dear God, give me some more money. Let me enjoy and be happy." That's God's job. We go and pray to Him, He gives us some money. He blesses us. He makes us feel good while we go on and enjoy life. But here, Krishna, He doesn't say this. He says, He's explaining in Bhagavad-gita that there is no enjoyment in this material world. What are you going to enjoy anyway? Whatever you get, dhanam dehi, yasham dehi, rupavati bharya dehi, these things people are praying for. Give me first thing, money, money, money. Give me money. But money that won't make you happy. Even if you have so much money, does it mean you're going to be more happy? People think, everyone thinks like that, but it's simply an illusion. It's not true. It's not that if you get so much money then you'll be happy. You see so many people, they've got plenty of money. Are they happy? Most of them have so much anxiety. Dhanam dehi, yasham dehi, let me be famous, respectable. That also doesn't help you. Rupavati bharya dehi, give me a beautiful wife. That also doesn't make you happy. That's another illusion, that you'll be happy if your wife is very beautiful. So these are all different kinds of illusions that we're going to God praying, give me this, give me that. But Krishna explains here in Bhagavad-gita what is our real need. That we want to be happy, Krishna doesn't deny. He doesn't say don't be happy. But He tells us that you can't be happy simply by trying to enjoy sense enjoyment. What is sense enjoyment? That is the interaction of the senses with their objects. The tongue with different kinds of food and different kinds of drink, and the ear hearing different kinds of music and sweet sounds. We like to hear if someone is praising us, that is very sweet, we like to hear. Then the skin, that the sense of touch, that is by sexual contact, that is considered the highest happiness in the material world. Skin touching skin. Now these are the different kinds of sense enjoyment, but Krishna tells us that actually these things, they don't make you happy, rather the opposite. Yahi sangsparshaja bhoga dukha yonaya evate adyantavanta kodtaya nateshu ramate buddha. He says that people think that the interaction of the senses with the sense object is a cause of pleasure, but actually it's ultimately a cause of distress, because it puts us more and more into illusion. First of all, we think it will make me happy, and then we go to so much endeavor to try to secure the objects of the senses. People are working so hard for so many years to get some money because they think it's not money in itself. Money, it's just some piles of paper. That doesn't make you happy. But what you think, if I can spend it, if I can get a nice car and a nice apartment, and I can go and visit America and all these things, that will make, these are the things that money can buy. But it doesn't bring you the happiness that you expected. So we spend our whole life chasing after that. We're working hard for that, desiring that. So we're always thinking how I can get it. That means we're always dissatisfied until we get it. And then when we get it, we find there's nothing really very much there anyway. There's nothing so wonderful. Okay, you get a lot of money, and then you go and fly off to America, and so what? You're in America, and here there's traffic jams, and there's traffic jams. That's all. Here there's tall buildings, and there's taller buildings. Here people are in anxiety, and there people are in more anxiety, actually. Really. More anxiety. Here, people speak, and there they speak also in different accent. It's the same thing going on. Eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. So then we become disappointed or frustrated, or we think, oh, maybe I should do something else, or try something else. You try out everything. We've already done it all. We've been through millions of bodies. Whatever different kinds of sense gratification we could have ever enjoyed, we've already done it, and it's simply a cause of frustration. And at the end, for all your struggle, they say struggle for existence, but you struggle as much as you like, you're not going to exist, you're going to die anyway. And then you get another body. You continue it. There's no use to struggle for existence, because on the one hand, the body that you're trying to make exist won't exist. And on the other hand, you are a living spiritual jivatma, and that will always exist anyway. So you don't have to struggle to make it exist. So what is the use? So Krishna directs us towards what is our real purpose of life. Our real purpose of life is to understand that this material world, we can't be happy here anyway. So why bother trying? All the time we're hearing, yes, if you do this, you'll be happy. Read the newspaper, go here. Go see this movie, it's a great movie, you'll be really happy. But you see everyone walking on the street, they're doing all these things. But still they're full of anxiety. Still they don't know what their purpose of life is. Still they have to die. So Krishna directs us towards that which is eternal. Na sate vidyate bhava, na bhava vidyate sata. Everything in this material world is temporary, but that which is eternal, that always continues to exist. What is that? That is the soul. Krishna teaches us the science of the soul. That we are eternal, living spiritual beings, and that we have our eternal relationship with Krishna. We are not meant for dying, we are not meant for suffering, we are meant for eternal happy life in the service of Krishna. Krishna explains that. And if we take that up in our lives, we can get the benefit. It's not very difficult to do. Krishna consciousness begins with hearing, and then chanting Hare Krishna. Of course there are many things to be learned. It's the deepest subject, the greatest subject, the science of God, understanding knowledge of Krishna. But the basic principles are very, very simple. That we are not this body. The body is temporary, but I am eternal. I am an eternal servant of Krishna. And my happiness, my real life, is in the service of Krishna. And even though Krishna is entirely spiritual, we're in this material world, because we are intrinsically spiritual beings, we can begin to serve Krishna right here. And if we start to do that, then our consciousness can become gradually so much spiritualized or Krishna conscious that when we leave these bodies, we don't have to get born again for another round of suffering, but we can go to the spiritual world to live eternally with Krishna. So it's a very basic, easy thing to understand. Krishna is explaining this. But if we have a little basic faith, that basic faith can come when we understand that everything in this material world, ultimately, it's useless anyway. So why should we bother? Let's try for something better. So if we have that little faith, or even just some curiosity, and we begin to hear from Krishna and apply this in our lives, then we can get the same result that so many great devotees in the past have achieved, that even in this life, we can begin to experience the happiness of Krishna consciousness, and we can prepare ourselves for the eternal life which is explained here in Bhagavad-gita. So that's why Prabhupada, acting as a servant of Krishna, has given his Bhagavad-gita as it is, so that people in this highly materialistic age can understand the principles of Bhagavad-gita in a very simple, straightforward, and practical, and joyful way, and apply it in their lives. And practically we're seeing all over the world that people from all different kinds of backgrounds are able to take up this Krishna consciousness and are doing so. Here we have devotees from many countries. Most of you, I guess you're coming fairly regularly. You've seen our Croatian devotees here. Now all of you know where Croatia is, I suppose. We also have devotees here from Serbia, from Poland, Russia, Britain, Ireland, Germany, Australia, so many countries. They've come to this sacred land of Bharat Bhumi, not to visit the factories, but to visit the Puri, the land of Jagannath, and from there to Mayapur, the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to join the International Festival of Devotees that is held every year in March there. Devotees from India and overseas. Actually, In Krishna consciousness we don't even think so much. We'll say this devotee is from Ireland and this devotee is from Croatia. Devotee means devotee. He's transcended bodily distinctions. Devotee means one who understands, I'm not this body anyway. I'm an eternal servant of Krishna. So many spirit souls, jivatmas, born in different places, they are taking up this Krishna consciousness, having become disgusted with the modern way of life, which is simply exploiting and cheating people and promising that which is impossible. Enjoy Coca-Cola. Become happy by drinking Coca-Cola. Did anyone ever become happy by drinking Coca-Cola? No. It's just a big bluff. And everything, it's all just a big bluff. Buy a Mercedes car, then you'll be happy. No. You won't become happy. Neither Coca-Cola nor Mercedes or even Rolls-Royce car. Whatever it is. You won't be happy. Real happiness is in Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna. Is there any question, please? No questions. Everyone's fully convinced. No doubts. So then we should chant Hare Krishna. Right? If everyone's fully convinced, then we have nothing else to do but chant Hare Krishna.
I have a question. Why do you put this tilak?
Well, you're putting it also.
Yeah.
Why do you put it? Huh? Now this tilak shows that...
Actually, why I put it, it is just, I am convinced by for so many of my questions. Just like
Yeah, you consider everything else is right, so this must be right also.
Yeah, yes. If we did something...
This tilak means identifying. We're devotees of Krishna. We're fed up with this material world. We want to be different. We don't want to be part of this. This part is just like having the footprint of Krishna. You see, would you like anyone to put their foot on your head? It's considered an insult, isn't it? It means you come under them. But we want Krishna's footprint on our head. So this is Krishna's footprint. And this is the tulsi leaf that symbolizes. So tilak is put on. This is Gopi Chandan. This is from the Gopi Talab in Dwarka, this very sacred earth, and the tilak is put on with different mantras, invoking the names of Krishna. So in all respects, tilak is all auspicious. Previously, everyone in India used to wear tilak. Now if you wear, they think it's something unusual. So you all wear. Do you wear tilak at your college also?
Yes.
Good, very good.
Why you
I know there's one young man joined our society a few years ago. Join means he took up the principles, chanting all this. So he's selling. He's a representative of a company that they do software programming. They write programs for companies. So he goes everywhere with his tilak. So then after he's done his x-rays, they ask, what is that? And then he explains. In the beginning his boss was a little apprehensive, but he said, you don't say anything, let me sell, I'm doing the job. So if it affects the sales, then I'll stop. But it doesn't affect the sales, so he goes on.
Why you told some places, certain places, certain places why you choose the places?
Yeah, actually this is, it's all the different directions of the body. So the idea of that is for protection. We're invoking the Lord's protection in all the different directions. On the upper part of the body, we don't put on the lower part. Lower part is considered less pure. Everything, all these things, there's reason for everything. Another very important thing is that when people see these markings, then they know this is Vishnu Tilak. and directly or indirectly they think of Krishna, then they become benefited. Or even if they don't know, if you just see a Vaishnava with tilak markings, then also there's some purification is there. Even if they don't know what it is and they don't care what it is, still by seeing that, they become purified.
So why we have other mantras? If we have Maha Mantra, you need to have other chant other mantras.
Maha Mantra, everything is included in Maha Mantra, but you may do also because Krishna is not homogeneous. There are so many facets of Krishna. So when we chant Hare Krishna, everything is there, but different mantras, they bring to mind different facets of Krishna's wonderful personality, qualities and pastimes. Just like we sing Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. So that's included in the Maha Mantra, but then when we chant Radha Madhava, then we specifically think of Krishna, who is the husband of the God, who is Madhava, husband of Goddess of Fortune, but who is especially inclined to Radha, and who is Kunja Vihari, who is enjoying pastimes in the groves of Vrindavan. So there are different flavors and moods of remembering Krishna. So different mantras bring that to mind. Just like we have the whole of the Bhagavatam, which is a description of the pastimes of Krishna. So we can also only chant Hare Krishna, everything is there, but by reading the Bhagavatam we can appreciate Krishna's different forms, incarnations and pastimes more and more. So everything is there, chanting is there, hearing is there, serving Krishna, different festivals are there, variety is there also.
What is the role of the student in Krishna consciousness?
The student should study about Krishna. You mean going to the college? Well, it's the same for everybody, just like Krishna tells Arjuna, Nama Nusmara Yudhyacha, think of me. Do you have some prasadam for them? Don't go. You're running off? Okay. Krishna tells Arjuna, think of me and fight. So Arjuna is a fighter, he had to fight. You're a student, you have to study, but you have to think of Krishna also.
Why is that we find Krishna, Rama, all the incarnations from India?
That is the great fortune of this land. Just like if the American president comes here, he did come here recently, didn't he? He didn't come, he was supposed to come.
He's supposed to.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't follow the papers that well. I heard he was supposed to come, he never came. Okay, so he could go anywhere in India, but specifically he'll go to the American embassy, isn't it? Because that's the specific representation of America in India. So he may go to other places also, but definitely he'll go there. So in the same way, this land of Bharatavarsha, this is especially, in all the universe, this land is especially meant for spiritual culture and realization. The atmosphere here is better. Therefore the Lord tends to come here, although He does go to other places also. In His deity form, the Lord goes all over the world, and even on other planets He appears also. But you'll find in the Srimad Bhagavatam the glories of Bharatvarsha are elaborated on, because this particular area has been designated by Krishna as the best place for spiritual advancement. Just like at the present time, the best place for material advancement is maybe America. So the particular atmosphere is there. People who have got that particular karma for material progress, they may be born there. They tend to be born there. Whereas those who are more developed from previous lives towards spiritual progress, they tend to take birth here. Tend to. It may be the other way around. You may find spiritually progressive people taking birth in America also. And you may find very materialistic people taking birth in India also. But generally, those with more spiritual advancement, they take birth here. But that doesn't mean that just by taking birth here, everything is finished. You have to take advantage of that also. Just like if you're born in I just met someone who's Actually, I was in Russia. I met someone who was his father, his sister, his mother, his grandfather. They're all economists, generation after generation. So, fairly likely his son will become an economist also, because there's that atmosphere in that family. But it's not just by being born that his son will become an economist. If he, when he grows up, he's 20 years old, he says, you see, my father was an economist, my grandfather was an economist, and so what do you know about economics? Nothing. So will he get a job as an economist? No. He also has to study and become expert. So in the same way, you're born in this land means there's an advantage for progress in Krishna consciousness, but you have to take up the sadhana also. Then you can make progress. You have an advantageous condition, but you have to take advantage of that by taking up the bhakti sadhana. Shall we chant? Kirtan? Do you have arti now or just kirtan? Chanting with dancing now. Okay, let's do it. Do you all know how to dance for Krishna? Did anyone ever teach you?